Yep, here we are. Hey guys, I'm Brad.
I'm Tiffany.
And this is Hammer and Home. And today we're going to be doing a little conversation, I guess, about Milwaukee versus DeWalt. Just a few tools that we have, comparing them. And, if there's anyone out there who wants to have a discussion about it, I'd love to hear from you.
Oh yeah, join the debate because we know people get riled up.
They sure do.
Milwaukee v. DeWalt. That's official court lingo for versus.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're seeing this after the live, make sure you leave some comments down below and obviously subscribe.
Yeah.
Because we'd love to see you on the next live, or if you want to ask me any kind of questions on any of the other videos, I'm always around. So
oh yeah, and he's got lots of opinions.
Renovations, construction, tools, whatever.
Yeah. But let's get right into it because it's like yellow and black, red and black. So many people out there are really just one or the other.
Yep.
And spoiler alert, but not really, because you all know, Brad, you're into both.
I love both.
It's pretty obvious looking at the situation behind us. You love both.
I love both, and I also love other brands as well, like Festool and Bosch, to name a couple. I just don't really stick with one brand. I kind of go for whatever I like. Whatever tool is cool and I can use it, that's what I go for. So, what should we start off with? Milwaukee, DeWalt? I don't know. Let's just start with the sanders, I guess. Sanders are good.
Yeah, because they are same but different.
Yeah.
Dust collection, a little different, but I know you love them both. Do you have a favorite?
I do.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's
What's your favorite?
Yeah, tell us your favorite, and then you can let us know the details, the pros and cons before we reveal.
All right, so we're going to be looking at the Milwaukee Orbital Cordless 18 volt and the XR Cordless 20 volt. Same thing though, they're both 18 volt batteries. Really, it's just how DeWalt calls them 20 when they're actually 18 point whatever.
Why did they do that?
Branding. They were not allowed. There was something to do with they were not allowed to call them 18 volts, or no, they weren't allowed to call them 20 volts in Europe because they're actually 18 volt. I think that's how the story goes, by the government, because it was not actually 20 volt.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Or 20 amp hour, I should say.
Okay. Makes perfect sense to me.
So there we go. I'm not going to get into it because I don't know enough about it, nor do I care. And that's the thing.
Just as the tool work.
That's the thing with me, guys. I'm not like some tool people who care about torque specs, RPM specs. I really don't care.
Yeah.
What I care about...
Tests in the laboratory.
Yeah, that's not me. That's not me. So if you want to hear about that kind of stuff, probably the wrong guy to be talking to. I'm more about the feel, how well does it do the job, which one's maybe faster at it. But as far as all the specs go, I really don't care. I really don't.
All right.
I do care about...
Brad has spoken.
I know. I just got to put that out there because so many people get so hung up on like, oh, that's this RPM, that torque, whatever. That's not me. That's not me, guys.
Okay.
So,
all right. I think we're all cool with that.
Okay. Cool. Because that's what you're getting.
Sweet.
So the Milwaukee. Let's take a look at the Milwaukee here.
Okay.
It is a random orbital sander. It's the hook and loop, just like the DeWalt. And it is variable speed as well. The biggest difference I would say between the two, number one, is the height of the Milwaukee.
Yeah.
It's a little taller.
Yeah. A little more vertical.
And the dust collection on the Milwaukee, which is unique. It's kind of boxy. For me, I guess I'll get right down to it. I prefer the DeWalt over the Milwaukee for two reasons. Number one, it's smaller. It feels better in my hand. So it's lower down. So I feel like it's, closer to the product, and I can really feel what I'm doing there. I kind of get a little sense of the feedback from the material. Whereas the Milwaukee, I feel like I'm so tall, it's just a bit too tall for me for feeling the responsiveness of the tool, whether it be rounding over an edge or just going flat. So
now that's really interesting because from my vantage point here, there's not that much difference. I mean, an inch or two.
Feel it.
I mean, okay. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I mean, height wise,
it's like an inch and a half.
Inch and a half.
Yeah.
So that is that much of a difference too. Yeah, the tops.
Yeah.
Tops are quite different.
The other difference
Tops are
is
quite different.
Don't tip the DeWalt too much. It's full of dust. I don't know where the other one is. It's
so much sawdust.
So the other thing is that the DeWalt mounts the battery sideways, whereas the Milwaukee mounts it vertically. And I find that the battery gets in my way with the vertical mount on the Milwaukee versus the sideways mount on the DeWalt. So that's the main reasons. The other is a dust collection. I don't like the Milwaukee's dust collection at all. I think it's big and bulky and awkward. It doesn't work the greatest. You would hope it would because it has this little, filter in there, but it's not that great. As far as vibrations go, they're both pretty good.
Babe, we got someone in the chat here that I have to honor because his chat comments probably been there for so long. Hi, Dan. How's it going? He says Brad's awesome, and he's a DeWalt and a Milwaukee guy.
Right on.
Nice.
Very
nice
cool.
to see you, Dan. Nice to see you here. Of course, I can only read like part of your comment.
Well, yeah, why is it doing that?
I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out.
Come on, tech
hopefully.
girl. Minimize that screen or something. I don't know. Yeah, good to hear from you, Dan. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
I see it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He loves your videos.
Thanks,
Nice
Dan.
one.
I appreciate the support. We both do. So that is my take on the sanders, you guys. I just prefer the DeWalt to the Milwaukee. So there we go. On to the next.
Yeah.
On to the next.
Let's do it. Well, I guess since Dan is also a DeWalt and Milwaukee guy, I wonder if you have the Orbital sander and if you have a favorite. Let us know in the chat. I would be interested to know. Did you get into the vibration?
Yeah, I mean they're both
they
kind of the
compare?
same. They're not premium tools like a Merca or a Festool sander. So they're gonna be they're about the same.
Okay.
They're a high-end brand, which they are. They're not like a Ryobi. They're like a Milwaukee is higher than a Ryobi or Black & Decker, but they're not as good as say a Festool sander. Now I don't know if you can really see them but I've got two of these sanders which are low profile. The vibration.
That's the Festool.
This is a Festool, but it's not cordless. It's corded. This is a very nice sander. And I prefer that when I'm finishing. The Milwaukee, the DeWalt I use more for everyday construction, building decks and sanding baseboards or trim or whatever. But there we go. All right.
There we go.
Next. Let's talk. So we got 5 tools that we're comparing. I guess I should say what 5 tools. We're doing the sanders. We're going to do some impacts. We're going to do the DeWalt 850 versus maybe the M12. I know they're different platforms, but it's kind of what I use, so that's why I'm comparing it.
Okay.
We're also going to compare the 2 cutoff saws, the 3-inch cutoff saws, against DeWalt and Milwaukee. We're going to look at the brad nailers, and is that it? That's 1, 2, 3. What am I missing? There was one more, wasn't there?
Cutoff tool.
Oh, the multi-tool. We're gonna look at the multi-tool.
Of course,
as well.
Can't have a debate without multi-tool.
Yeah.
That's a given.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it out so I don't forget. I don't know why I was forgetting.
Nice one.
And maybe let's just look at the multi-tool, seeing I have it in my hand.
Okay. Okay,
it's a very popular tool. So we're gonna look at the XR brushless model of the DeWalt. This is the DCS 356. So this is DeWalt's best multi-tool.
How many of those do you have?
This one I actually only have one.
What?
one of these.
Well, you have a lot of DeWalt.
But I have every
multi-tools.
single model. And I have I have, is it this one? That's the atomic version.
Okay.
I have the atomic version. Okay. DeWalt went on a crazy kick of like
Brad,
having
Ethan says
every single tool.
Ethan says he would go with both.
Ethan, for
just in general.
Oh, for general. Yeah.
He might be reacting to who knows which part. We've already covered a lot of ground already.
Asked, what's your favorite, Milwaukee or DeWalt? So he's saying both. That's what I'm assuming.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same. Both. Because they both have totally different things. DeWalt's FlexVolt line by far is probably one of the best lines out there. You can't beat it. I mean, Milwaukee doesn't have it. They have their giant batteries for their jackhammers and concrete saws and all that stuff, which to me is a little overkill and a little ridiculous. But I don't own any of that. I just don't know if I want to own any of it. This is the 12 volt extreme, so I got that little guy, and then I've got a couple of the other ones, which I don't even know where they are. Oh, this one right here, the 355. For some reason I have 3 of these. One of them broke, but I have 3 of these ones. But this is the best one, and that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at the 356. Right, so you got 3 modes of speed on the bottom. You have a variable speed trigger. You have the quick bit change, which to me is the best out of all of the tools out there. But there's something about this tool that I don't like, which we'll get into in a second. It has the LED light. It has good rubber overmold. And it's a well-balanced tool. It's super small for multi-tools. And saying that, the 12 volt, I don't know if you guys have ever seen them side by side.
Little shorter in height.
But I love the 12 volt.
Really?
And I'm going to keep this out because we are going to compare it to the 12 volt Milwaukee.
Okay. Apples to apples?
Yeah. Which...
Remember, we got to face forward for the camera mic.
Okay, I think I'm going to have to quickly go grab it, and you're going to have to talk about some of these. But this is the Milwaukee 12 volt, the real basic one. No quick bit change. You have to use an Allen key.
Yes.
This is the 18 volt, the real basic one, not the fuel, just the basic. Again, no, this has the quick bit change on the top here. So better bit change, but not the fuel version. I'm going to go grab the fuel version in the M12.
Brad's on the hunt. Okay.
All right, I'll be right back.
Good luck. He'll be back. But in the meantime, I want to hear in the chat, what multi-tool is everyone using? I mean, every brand's got one. I don't know how we all survived without a multi-tool. I mean, does anyone remember in the way back days, there was actually a time before multi-tools existed? But I know, this is a ridiculous reason to like DeWalt better, probably, in your opinion, but this guy's on a slant, so you can't just stand him up nice and easily on the battery like you can with a DeWalt multi. I mean, I guess you could with this guy if you were using the square. I don't know the official word for it. The battery that's square. Maybe you could stand them up. But I just love the way all DeWalt tools stand vertical, ready at attention, ready to rock and roll for your home fixing, your DIYing. But I do recognize that might not be the most professional reason for preferring a certain brand of multi-tool. I know vibration is a big thing. I was just giving my reason of why I like DeWalt best for the multi-tool. Let's see what Brad thinks of my reason.
Let's hear it.
Because it stands up vertically.
It does.
Which I like. Is that something that counts in the tool world?
Here it is.
Right in front of your eyes.
Ah, man. So one problem, you guys, when you have this much stuff on like display and not in boxes, which I do in my trailer, it's hard to find sometimes. So,
what do you think of my decision making, my preferences?
well,
Is that a good reason, or is that just
they all
should
stand
not
up
be?
with batteries.
Well, not if you use the little streamline ones, and I mean,
Let's test it.
okay. Okay, I guess you're right, but the DeWalt feels more like it has less chance of tipping over.
That's true. That's true. All right, guys, let's take a look at this.
This one wouldn't.
No, that one wouldn't. That's the 18 volts. So let's get rid of that guy because.
But isn't that the best one out of?
No.
Oh.
This is the worst.
Oh, really?
I don't like. Well, it's not the worst. I shouldn't say that. For anyone who's a newbie or a DIYer or someone who isn't professional like myself, this is totally fine. Even for a professional. Totally fine, you guys. It's totally fine.
Especially if you're already on the Milwaukee platform and you have a bunch of batteries. Yes.
Yeah. Here's the biggest thing. Okay. I have all these multi-tools. I probably have like 15 of them. Even Bosch. I have everything. So I've used all of them. I've used these two. And then I used to use this one all the time.
You're buying all these tools and not using them.
Well, I only have 2 pairs of hands here, so like 2 hands. So I can't multi-tool like 15 things at once.
Oh, only 2 hands, but 10 fingers to put in the credit card number when you're ordering from Amazon, right?
No, I don't even have to do that anymore.
One-click purchase.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, if you are looking for any of these tools, I've made a note of them. If you're an Amazon shopper, they're all in the description below this live. So you can find out specifically the 10 specific tools that we started off planning to discuss. But Brad being Brad, I knew there would be more. So
and a side note, we do get a little bit of a kickback from Amazon.
Oh yeah,
obviously.
They're affiliate
so
links. Yeah,
got to put that out there, but you guys all know that anyhow. So
you know the drill.
Anyhow, the Milwaukee is the best. All right, this is the Milwaukee Fuel. This is the 12-volt version, M12, and by far it is the best for one reason. Yeah, for one reason only. Okay, because I prefer the DeWalt for blade change.
Okay.
And I also prefer the DeWalt for operating. So I like the trigger. I do not like Milwaukee's just straight on. And I do not like where they put the variable speed, because I find especially when I'm wearing gloves, I hit this all the time and it changes. So those 2 things I don't like about Milwaukee. I like their bit change thing. That's fine. It's not great. It's fine. It's not as good as DeWalt. So DeWalt overall is better, except for how they cut. The Milwaukee cuts, I don't know, 1,000 times better than the DeWalt.
Interesting.
1,000 times, honey.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So I have a video. I don't know if you look it up on our page. Maybe it was a short. I don't remember. But it's me cutting with the Milwaukee with one hand sideways through 2x4, I think, and it's effortless. Not to mention straight. Whereas the DeWalt, you kind of have to use 2 hands. It's not as effortless, and the reason being is the arc at which these 2 tools cut at is different. This one cuts a little further than the DeWalt. And that makes all the difference. The speed at which the Milwaukee cuts is so much faster than the DeWalt. And it really, really bugs me, because I was really heavily into DeWalt, as you can see. But then I started slowly getting into the Milwaukee M12 stuff. And now I find myself going for Milwaukee way more than DeWalt. And the reason it bugs me is because I have more batteries for DeWalt than Milwaukee. So now I'm having to take both, and for me, the Milwaukee's just, it's worth it to have for cutting, for accuracy. When you're doing really sensitive cuts, maybe on some furniture or some finishing work, you got to have the right tool. So there you go. That's my take on the multi-tools. I prefer the cutting of the fuel, but I prefer the feel and overall workability of the DeWalt. What do you think about that?
I think that's great.
You see why I'm torn? It's like I go to work and I'm like, which one do I take?
You have so many options. I don't know how you don't get overwhelmed by the decisions.
Well, I do, because
got to make every day choosing tools.
Now let me say this: the new Extreme DeWalt, this little 12 volt, cuts better than this DeWalt, in my mind. Yeah.
Really interesting.
I don't know why, but it just does. So I'm gonna have to do some testing in the lab.
In the lab. Okay, well, which one do you want to get into next? We got the brad nailer, we got the cutoff tool.
Yeah, we'll do the cutoff tool. Let's do the brad nailer last.
Maybe
we'll do a
Save
test.
The biggest
we'll shoot
for the
some
last.
nails or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're gonna get into it.
A bit crazy in here.
How's everyone doing? Let us know in the chat what you're thinking. If Brad's reasoning sounds on track.
Sounds bonkers.
Or if it's just bonkers.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to look at the MILWAUKEE versus the DeWalt. Now, again, we're not talking specs here. We're talking feel. We're talking accuracy.
I mean, am I crazy or do they look very similar?
They look very similar. I guess I should show them.
Hold them up close.
This way.
Yeah.
So they're very similar. The MILWAUKEE's smaller feeling. The motor is a little bit smaller feeling. The handle is definitely smaller feeling. But the blades are the same size. If I remember correctly, the DeWalt has a weird arbor size.
Arbor size? What does that even mean?
The size of the hole on the blade. So MILWAUKEE's is 3/8, and where was DeWalt's? DeWalt's, I've got a blade here. No, DeWalt's is 3/8 as well. Interesting. DeWalt's is 3/8 as well. I don't know. I have a memory of them being weird. Anyhow, that's the least of my worries. The biggest thing. So
there's always something weird going on around here. I don't blame you.
So I got mixed feelings about both of these tools. Number one is I don't use them that often because I'm not a tile setter. So for tiling, I think they'd be great. For cutting metal, they're great. For woodwork, they're horrible because they don't have a wood blade.
Wow, tell us how you really feel.
Well, I'm going to. For cutting wood, they're horrible because they're not meant for cutting wood.
Okay.
They both have multi blades when you can kind of burn through the wood, but it's not accurate. It's just for like, oh, I forgot my circular saw. I'll just cut this piece of wood. So, and they're very small blades, so you're not cutting 2x material. So they're more designed for metal work and tile work, really. I do like how they cut in forward and reverse. Now, I'll put out there, the reason why they don't have a wood blade on here is because they cut in forward and reverse, and there's no safety on them. So it's just, you just pull the trigger and
that sounds dangerous.
And they're on. Yeah. Well, they use abrasive blades, and you can kind of touch it with your finger and it wouldn't cut it off. You get hurt.
Oh my goodness.
But that's the main reason. There's no wood blade that they make for these.
Power tools, I feel the need to offer a disclaimer at this point. Power tools are not toys, kids.
That's right.
Be careful. Be careful. Use at own risk.
Just gotta hydrate there. Okay, so a couple things that bug me. Number one.
Have you revealed which one you like better yet?
I still don't know.
Oh.
Well, I might know.
Anyone have a favorite in the 3-inch out there?
I'm going to point out a couple things.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So MILWAUKEE's dust collection is better than DeWalt's. Why? Because this part here on the top pivots. Okay.
Looks like a
It has a cap.
periscope for a submarine.
That's right, honey. It's a saw periscope. and it has a cap so you can take it on and off, okay? So that's great.
Sweet.
DeWalt's is fixed, and it sticks out the front, and it has their quick connect system on it, which is ridiculous on this saw. It's so big, and it makes it very awkward to use. So I want to use a small hose, like a Festool hose, shove it in there, and that's what I want. So I don't like DeWalt's. I prefer Milwaukee's. Okay, next.
I'd say that's a valid reason.
Yeah. Next, as far as the feel of the two, I have quite large hands. I prefer the DeWalt as far as comfort goes over the Milwaukee. The Milwaukee, you really do have to have a battery in it, and I'll show you. I'm just going to put a 4 amp hour. So that extends the handle. So now it feels better. Whereas the DeWalt, you know, the battery slides in, so they had to make the handle bigger to start. They both have little LED lights. They both have these guards that come off pretty much the same way. But the biggest thing for me is lining up your cut. So Milwaukee has a little notch on the front here, which is super easy for me to see when you turn this backwards, and which is the way I do anyhow, because the hose kind of comes out like this. And when I'm cutting, I can line up that little notch in the middle plate with my cut line. The DeWalt has the same little notch, but you can't see it because of this giant dust port. So what do you have to do? You have to line up this little nub and kind of project it down onto your line, and that's how you line up your work. However, if you have a hose on there, you can't. So
what do you do then?
You're kind of out of luck.
Really? Wait, you're just cutting blind?
You're kind of cutting blind.
Well, that's...
Or you're looking beside the blade, which isn't great because they're so small you can't even see in there.
You should just know where you're cutting, Brad.
I know. Ethan's here. Ethan says...
He says... Oh, nice. Well, Ethan already told us he likes both brands, but yeah. We are Canadian.
Hey.
You got it.
Yeah, we do our best. Yeah. Now,
getting ready for winter over here.
They're both brushless, which is awesome. So they're both great tools. They both are awesome. And if you take the guard off, okay, we're just going to pull the guard off here. Super easy. You just press the button and it just comes off. Do
you prefer to have the guard off?
Yeah.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
On both.
All right. You seem to take the guard off on all your tools.
I think most guys do.
Why is that?
Guards are pain. So the Milwaukee's easier to get the guard off.
That's the polite version of that.
Yeah, but keep them because you may never know.
Well, Gino says, I hope I'm saying your name right, Gino. DeWalt cutoff has more power.
Interesting. See, I haven't compared the power because I haven't done a lot of cutting with them. I've mostly just cut soffit with it, which is super thin gauge metal. And I haven't really noticed any kind of power difficulties there. But good to know. I'll have to put it in the lab. Test it in the lab.
Have you tried both, Gino? Or is that just a theory because you're DeWalt? Because you bleed black and yellow.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I think I have heard that before too. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So DeWalt has their tool on the front, and Milwaukee. I thought they had one on here. I can't even remember. Why am I not seeing it?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys.
Stand by, please.
I am not seeing it.
So Gino says he has the M12. Interesting.
Do you like it, Gino? Gino, what do you use yours for? Because I really struggle to use this tool very often. I like it just because it looks cool, and I want to get Milwaukee's bandsaw because I think that would be not bandsaw. What am I saying? They're small sander. It's like a band sander. I like that, but the price is kind of outrageous. So I don't know. Milwaukee Fuel doesn't have a Allen key slot that I can see unless I'm blind, whereas DeWalt's is on the front here. So, you know, there's a plus for the DeWalt.
Gino says, well, he'll have to see it when it comes out, and he's cutting tile.
Yeah, exactly.
He says there's no M18 version of the cutoff yet.
No. And that just means you have to get the larger batteries like this instead of, you know, these guys, right?
He's making backsplash. Sweet. Yeah, he says it's really great for making curves.
Yeah, so that's why I got them too, is for doing, you know, cutting out around your toilet or around your controls or whatever in your shower, because it's such a small blade. You can get in there, it's nice and tight, and you're not gonna overcut. You know, you can just notch it around or whatever. So that regard, they're a great little tool for sure.
And we do have lots of tile going on in our projects right now.
Yeah. So my biggest qualm with the tools, I guess, is the guards.
Okay.
Because I wish that DeWalt's dust collection was a little better. Like, I don't know, maybe if they had put the dust collection on the sides and so we could actually see the notches a little better.
Yeah.
You know, that might have been a better route, but again,
they both chose not to do that.
Yeah, so there must be some reasoning behind it.
Something we don't know here?
Milwaukee's port is really small compared to DeWalt's. So there you go, guys. That's my 2 cents on the tools. I don't know if that helps you at all, but you know, if you're making a purchase or whatever, who to go with. For me,
you're really struggling.
Gee,
you're really struggling.
For me, it's the Milwaukee. For the sole reason
Periscope.
I can use this guard.
Yeah.
And I can see where I'm cutting better than the DeWalt. That's the only reason why I would go with Milwaukee.
Okay.
If you needed to use the guard for dust collection, the Milwaukee is the better choice.
Brad
but as far as power goes, you know, we're hearing that DeWalt's better.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
There you go, guys. Enough of that.
Enough of that.
All right, let's talk.
Wait a minute. Gino's got something to say here. He says he might get another cutoff just because he's too lazy to change discs. LOL.
And that's, hey, there's nothing wrong with that, man.
That's valid.
You know?
We can validate that all day long.
Do you know how many routers I have because I don't want to change the blade? And when I'm finishing...
How many routers do you have because you don't want to change the blade, Brad?
Well, back in the day, I had three of these... the Bosch Colts, okay? So back in the day, before the DeWalt, before the Milwaukee, we were using corded 1/4-inch routers, and you know, changing the blades from like a round over to maybe a flush bit or something like that, it was just a pain. You had to, you know, change the whole setup. So you just buy extra routers because they're cheap, and you just keep the bit on, and then you can just quickly interchange. Especially if you're doing work on site. You know, if you're doing work for yourself is one thing, but if you're on site and you're making money with this stuff, then yeah, totally get another tool. I support that.
Gino says Bosch Colt, LOL. He's got his first router is the PR20 EVS.
PR20
Is
EVS.
that bringing anything back memory lane?
I don't even know what the PR20 EVS is.
Oh my goodness. I'm like so bad at moving this chat. There we go.
Yeah, I've got the Festool, the Bosch, the Milwaukee, the DeWalt, the Freud, the Rigid.
This is just your routers we're talking about.
These are just routers,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know, but I don't use my quarter ones anymore. So now all I'm using is my Bosch, or my DeWalt. And then I use my Milwaukee.
That one's so much smaller.
I do like the Milwaukee a lot, yeah. That's another show.
Oh boy.
And then for
the router show,
when I'm doing like cabinetry and stuff and flush trimming, then I'll get into the Festool, which is just a whole kind of different router. You can use this for the same reasons the other ones, but this does more. So
Gino loves the DeWalt router.
It's
He
great.
loves it.
It's great. But honestly, should we talk about them? Gino, I don't know if you've noticed, but the Milwaukee's smaller as far as diameter goes. It's shorter, so you can see the height there.
Yes.
It's lighter. It's easier to adjust the base plate up and down. DeWalt, as you know, has this part that spins, which is great. But Milwaukee's, you just flick this, and then you adjust with this barrel here.
Oh, okay.
Way nicer to use. As long as you keep it clean, wax it on the inside. This gets stuck sometimes, so just spray a little spray lube in there, the silicone stuff, and you're golden. It'll just move like butter, which I did to this one. So now it moves really nicely. The DeWalt I use mostly for, well, lately for framing, for cutting out windows with when I'm plywooding.
Gino says he knows the M18 is more ergonomic. It's easier to hold, but he doesn't own any M18 tools.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I only own a couple. And I, router's one of them. The nail gun.
Yeah.
What else do I have?
But if you're holding it all day, ergonomics starts to.
Yeah, I think I only have like 5 M18 tools.
Call my name, that's for sure.
Yeah. So there we go. Cool. That was
right.
the quick rundown on the routers.
They weren't even in the rundown tonight.
They weren't. Let's talk impacts.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So this isn't going to be the most fair comparison.
Gino says he has M12 and DeWalt 20 volt. That's how he's
It's the same as me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gino, have you used? I'm just going to bring it up. The Milwaukee planer. Now that is a nice tool. I don't even use my DeWalt planer anymore.
What? And you have several?
No, I just have the one cordless.
I thought you had two.
No, I have the Makita corded.
Okay.
And then I have that other that other brand. I can't remember the name of it. That I don't even use. The one that was given to us.
But I'm distracting you from
the
DCF 850. Everyone.
All right. So this is a Tolomek DCF 850. This is my favorite DeWalt impact driver by far.
It's so stubby.
Yeah, they've released all these other ones, but
Gino says he has yet to. Sorry, I'm just waving a fly away. I don't
yeah,
know.
dude, you gotta try it. It is so nice.
Yeah.
It's so nice to use. So yeah, this is 20 volt, but I'm gonna compare it to the third gen.
Third gen.
I'm gonna compare it to this guy. So this came out 2 years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. It's awesome, especially if you pair it with like a power stack. Okay.
Sweet.
So it's nice and light.
Yeah.
Super
Gino
powerful.
says he's got the 850 and the power stack.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's a real nice fit.
He's on point.
I've got the 5 amp hour power stack, but the 5 amp hour power stack really annoys me because it's so big compared to regular 5 amp hours.
When did you get that?
Last year.
What? How did I not know that? Really? I gotta see this. I didn't realize Brad was acquiring power stacks in his massive DeWalt battery collection.
Okay, so here's a regular.
How did I not
5.
know that?
I don't know. So it's just it's huge.
That's weird because
and
normally the whole
ridiculous.
thing about them is that they're kind of low profile.
I know. I was really disappointed when they came out with this, and just the overall size of it is nuts.
Nick's got a good question. He says, do you usually take both brands of everything to work, and how do you transport them from house or workshop to truck?
Yeah, good questions, Nick. So I have a 16-foot trailer. I have a couple actually, but I have a 16-foot trailer that is basically my mobile shop. I drive an F-350 Ford, which pulls this giant trailer, which can have ladders on it. It's a big trailer. I like it because I can carry trim in there. I can carry drywall in there.
Yeah.
I like it because I can drop it off at site. And I can go get material when my guys are using the trailer. So that's why I've always been a trailer guy. I thought about going the van route because I have some friends that do that. They have like the Sprinter van or the Mercedes van,
Yeah.
which is really nice because it's safe, right? If you have a tall enough garage, you can park your van with all your equipment and tools in there, and it's no problem. But for me, you know, I watched my plumber's van break down, and then he was out of work. He couldn't work because all his equipment and tools are in there.
Yeah.
So I'm a trailer guy.
But then there are some days where you aren't rocking the trailer.
Yeah. So
and you're just pulling your
my truck,
my
dump trailer. So
no, your stuff, your toolboxes.
Yeah. So I'm getting to that, honey. I'm answering his second question now. So the other thing is when it's like deck season and I'm doing a lot of decks and fences, I don't pull my cargo trailer. I end up pulling my dump trailer because I'm bringing concrete or I'm hauling dirt out or I'm picking up fence packages or whatever. So I've got a dump trailer that I use, and that means I need to have my toolboxes in my truck. Now, when I'm doing outside work like decks or fences, I will use Milwaukee's Pack Out because they're IP rated, which means they're not going to get your stuff wet inside when it rains.
Pack Out.
So I love Milwaukee Pack Out. I have it all over here. You can kind of see
it
see the edge of it right here.
That's the beginning of his massive pile of pack outs.
Yeah.
It's just the tip of the iceberg on screen.
So I really sort of honed in on what I need for work. I barely take air with me because I'm very cordless. And as far as the tools go, I just use the larger tote with the wheels on the bottom, and I chuck all my tools in there, everything. And I carry that. And I carry 2 stacks, basically, about 3 or 4 high.
You say you're chucking your tools in there, but
I lay them in
Brad
nicely.
is hyper organized. He has specific boxes for specific types of jobs. So you have a general idea, okay, if there's no electrician on site, you might be doing some wiring today. So you got your Sparky box, and then got all kinds
I have every tool known to man.
Though, like you have your boxes for certain types of jobs with all the stuff that you
and that's
need.
where the trailer comes into play, because the trailer I would carry more tools, more supplies, because I am a general contractor as well as a carpenter, and so I find myself having to pick up the slack sometimes with different trades if they can't make it, or if I'm doing a reno and I have to do something. So typically I'll pull a trailer. But if I'm doing decks and fences, I'm just doing the truck with the pack out, the T-stack.
And sorry, I just need to say, because Gino is agreeing pack out is so nice, and he likes him better than the DeWalt Tough system.
Hands down, man, hands down.
And you can see, been through both.
And I have the this is the T-stack.
Tough system. The T-stack. Well, we have some Tough system too.
No, I gave them to my helper.
Oh, you've given them away.
Yeah, I have the Tough system.
Goodbye, Tough system.
I didn't have very much of it.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. It's like DeWalt started something, and they got married to it, and they're stuck. So it's a fine system, guys, but it is not even close to pack out. The 2.0 system is got some different cubbies and all that, but the way that it connects together is kind of hokey to me with the side clips, and they just really are not putting out a lot of product. There's not a lot of different drawer units or carrying units. Like Milwaukee has bags and coolers, and their mug is pack out and it clips in. That's crazy.
What? Really?
Yeah, that's the one I wanted to clip onto the kayak.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny! Wow.
So like Tough system.
Brad's in heaven.
Tough system's way better.
That fits into pack out. I can't believe it.
I don't even drink coffee, but I had to get this. But pack out, way better. So there you go. Am I answering all the stuff?
Yeah, well, Gino also mentioned he used to only have regular 5-amp DeWalt batteries before he got Power Stack.
Yeah.
Did you get a Power Stack 5-amp?
The other reason,
I don't know.
Nick, I guess the reason why I like a trailer is because I carry a generator as well. I have a Honda generator that I use for powering my job sites because a lot of the times I don't like running extension cords to people's homes because we end up tripping their breaker. So, you only get that one plug outside, maybe a garage plug. And if we're running saws, we're running compressors, saws, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I find I'm always
There's a
popping
lot
breakers.
going on.
And then a lot of the times, especially if we're doing outside work,
Yeah.
the client isn't even home.
Yeah.
They're gone. They're at work, and we can't get into the house, and
Yeah.
nor do I even want to go into their house.
No.
So to minimize,
and then in your trailer, you got your microwave too.
yeah, I've got a microwave there too. So to minimize my liability, having guys having access to homes, I like to have power. Get the porta potty, all that stuff. So I'm very mobile on the trailer side, and I just think it's better that way.
Meanwhile, Gino's like telling us he's only got the smaller power stack. This guy, right, Gino, the 1.7, and he got it because it's lighter and awesome for the 850, just like we have it set up.
Yeah.
But he's wondering if we've seen the flex ones. I think you probably mean flex volt batteries for sure. We have some of those.
Yeah. So we can talk about flex volt.
Totally. Yeah. So what do you think of the 2060? Like, is that working for you?
The 2060?
Yeah, the flex in the flex volt, right? That they work for 60 volt as
love
well.
them.
Yeah.
So I have all the flex volt stuff. I mean, you can see off to the side here, we've got the power station and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like flex volt, I've got the grinders, I've got the jackhammers, I've got the circular saws, all that kind of stuff, and I love the flex volt. I typically have 6 amp hours because they're cheaper, and 9 amp hours for my DeWalt table saw that I love. That's flex volt. I highly recommend that saw. By far better than Milwaukee for the battery side of thing. I think DeWalt beats Milwaukee. But that's because of the flex volt.
Okay.
So there you go. But
So
I'm comparing.
Here we are.
I'm comparing
Back
these
to these
two.
guys.
Now, if I was doing apples to apples, I would be comparing this guy. This is the 12 volt DCF 801, and this is a 12 volt 3rd gen. This is the 2nd gen. Okay, the biggest difference is the light is on the front, and this one the light is around. So that's how you can tell the difference between the two. It's not the only difference, but that's the easy visual difference between the two. So I bought this not this one. I bought this, the 850, a couple years ago, and it's amazing. You can put GRKs in no problem. It's great for bolts and all that, and you can put on a flexible battery on here for longer runtime, which I don't, but because I like to be compact and light. And that's when I found this. Okay, this 3rd gen Milwaukee is a powerhouse, and this is the only impact I've been using for at least a year now, and I love it. I've put on one of the Simon Tools magnetic holders here, which I absolutely love. Right now we're doing soffit work, and I think it's great because I can have my bits here, but I can also hang bits on the side or screws, so it makes it really, really easy to use. I never go out of the mode 3 on this. This is a fuel, it's brushless. I love how small it is, and the reason I love it is because it's small, it fits into my pouch. I have a, your typical kind of pouch with a drill holder on the side. And I found with the DeWalt, unless you're using a long bit, like something like this, which is, I use these a lot. Unless you're using this, it'll flip out. So you got to hang it. Now Milwaukee's hanger DeWalt's hanger is way better than Milwaukee's. Milwaukee's is kind of a joke. I don't even use it. I should probably just take it off. I never use it. But Milwaukee's smaller, and I can fit it in my pouch. And it's, as far as power goes, if I'm just driving in my regular 3-inch GRK framing screws, this is my go-to because it's just so small, and I find it's just as fast as this. So I have not used this drill at all in 2023, or impact, I should say, not drill. So there you go. That's my biggest thing. Who I got a question? So Gino says he also has the M12 Gen 3 impact, and it was a good deal. Yeah, that's exactly why I got it too. It was on a deal at Home Depot, and I think it came with a battery. Maybe it was a bear. I can't remember, but yeah, it was a great deal. I love it. And you got yours as the kit with the hem. That's what I got that as well. Here it is. No, not that one. This one. You're right. I couldn't remember. I got the two together in a kit. It was a killer deal. So I picked them up. And this drill is amazing as well, Gino. I'm sure you know how awesome this thing is. It's just, there's no reason for me to grab my DeWalt anymore. So it's kind of sad because I really did enjoy using this. And I love the look of it. I don't like where DeWalt's going. They did release a new drill earlier this year. I have it here somewhere. Where is it, Tiff?
What are you looking for?
I have a new impact. I can't even.
Maybe it's hanging on the wall with all your other impacts.
Oh, I don't even see it. It'll turn up. I don't see it. Maybe no, it's not this one. Whatever. But yeah, I'm just not impressed with DeWalt as far as what they're bringing out. Milwaukee is just every single tool they bring out, they're stepping up the game. And that's why I'm starting to go more M12. Whereas before I used to be all yellow, and now I'm just, yeah, what can you do? So, you know, I love DeWalt. I'm not knocking them, but this is why I have multiple brands. I'm not just a Milwaukee fan or a DeWalt fan. I got both because, you know, DeWalt has like these guys. I love these little XR, you know, these are so nice. And then their next size up, I know I'm getting off topic, guys, but the next size up, like I love these. These are just so nice to use. Whereas Milwaukee's, I don't like them as much. So, you know, there you go. Why so many tools, Ethan? Why not? Yeah, I don't know. Mainly, here's the reason. Running crews, I typically supply the tools for the guys, and I have a crew, and that's what I do. So, you know, instead of everyone on their own platform, and when that would happen, you know, a lot of guys are maybe apprentices or whatever, they'll bring their rigid tools or their Ryobi tool. I can't have that on my site. So it's easier if we're all running, you know, these impacts. Like I have a whack of these. The reason I have so many 885 impacts is because there was a DeWalt store here, and I would always get them for like $60 or $50, and it was just a steal. So I would just grab them, and they don't break, and it's perfect. So everyone's got the same impact. Everyone's running on the same battery platform. So if we're all working together, we can just quickly swap batteries. If we're doing a job together and someone's battery dies, you don't want to go out to the trailer to grab a new battery. So that was my way of thinking of sort of streamlining the business to make it, you know, successful. And yeah, it costs money to have the tools and everything, and I don't supply everything obviously, but when you're running a crew, you kind of are expected to you know, have some stuff for the guys. So that answers your question. Babe.
Yeah.
I think we talked enough about impacts.
Okay.
So impact of choice.
That's something Brad has never said.
I know.
You can never talk too much about impacts, right?
I mean, I could keep going on and on and on and on. If any of you guys want to see a tool,
Did you Okay.
I
I totally just interrupted
let me know.
you.
Let me know if you want
But
to hear my thoughts on a tool or whatever. Please let me know.
are we doing the drum roll to the Brad nailers? Is that what is
We
happening
could.
right now?
We could.
Yeah, I think we could too.
We're on the last tool, I guess, right?
Wait. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what we talked about here.
Why? Oh, no, I can't tell you where I am.
Witness protection program.
Somewhere.
Over the rainbow.
I'm located in my shop. How about we'll go that far?
Workshop. Yeah.